Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of KnightTime. My name is Camden Mowery and we have a packed show today, including National Signing Day in college football and a recap of what happened around the world in college basketball. Get seated, sit back, relax, grab a snack because KnightTime starts now.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Hello everyone, welcome back to episode 4 of KnightTime. We are soaring through this season and we are so excited to get this show started. I'm Taylor Anderson, joined by my co-host, as always, the best Camden Mowery.
That's me. I'm doing great today. I'm happy to be here. How are you doing today, Taylor?
I'm doing so good. I know that we have a friendly foe for you in the Big Ten here. Kellie Campbell, the queen of college football, is here. Kellie, thanks for joining us today.
Of course. I'm so happy to be back. It's been too long. Camden.
Kellie, it's great to have you here. You know, I heard that your team was second in the Big Ten at recruiting. That's an impressive feat. Great job on that. Second in the Big Ten to Penn State. Great for them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It feels really good finishing 2 spots behind you, considering how much better you played than us in all season.
Ooh.
That's right. Ohio State #1. That's all I heard about that. Rose Bowl champions. Any
Number
excuse?
4, but #1 in the Big Ten.
#1 in the Big Ten. Any
Okay.
excuse to talk about college football, we will. I can't wait to get into this.
And we are going to get right into it. If you're wondering why Kellie's here, we are going to talk all things college football for this first segment. And Wednesday was the official signing day for players heading off to play college football next year. The top 3 teams come down to Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia. We're going to go over who won and lost this year's recruiting battle, and who we think came out on top with the best class. The top recruit in the country, Travis Hunter, is heading to Jackson State University and HBCU, so we're starting to see a shift in players going to what best fits them and not so much what other people think are best for them. Kellie, what are some key takeaways from this signing day?
First of all, what a way to celebrate Black History Month, having Travis Hunter commit to an HBCU as the #1 player in the country. He had a 0.9999 on 24/7 Sports. That's ridiculous. That is insane. I was watching his highlights myself, and this kid is an amazing player. He's phenomenal. So to see him go and play for Deion Sanders and put some representation into these smaller HBCUs, I'm so excited to see it. And I think it's going to start a trend for people in the future.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Camden, do you see a trend happening soon?
I hope so, except for the fact that the top 3 teams were all from the SEC. That I hope changes, but it's good. Travis Hunter, I believe he switched from Florida State, if I'm not mistaken, to Jackson State. That shows what Deion Sanders is doing there with that culture. That is awesome. Great for Travis Hunter. I cannot wait to see what he has to do in his couple years of college.
He was a 92% crystal ball to Florida State, by the way.
Dang.
Wow. Yeah.
Slipped
that's
them
a- that's
right
a good
out
flip.
from under them. So when it comes to winners, I have to give it to Texas A&M, Oregon, LSU, and Georgia. With A&M, they were able to make history, having the highest rating recruiting class ever, beating Alabama's rankings last year. They landed Shamar Stewart, who was a 5-star ranked prospect in the top 10 nationally. With Dan Lanning entering his first year as head coach, Oregon was able to flip 4-star running back Jordan James from Georgia. LSU pulled the #1 linebacker in the country and was also a former A&M commit, Perkins, and Georgia was able to keep 4-star defensive lineman Kristen Miller. Camden, what are some of these teams that are really standing out for you this recruitment class?
Well, I'm also really surprised by what Texas A&M did. I did not expect them to have the #1 class. I'm not going to talk about Ohio State because I think they just did average for what they do. But the team that I would like to focus on is Oklahoma. They lost their coach. They lost Lincoln Riley. They had their quarterback Caleb Williams transfer, and still they had the 8th or 9th best recruiting class. Good for them. Miami as well. Mario Cristobal at coach. He is now there down in Miami, and they had a top 15 recruiting class according to 247 Sports. So those are 2 teams that I did not expect to really be that high up there, but are still those, blueprint schools for college football that are going to get the job done.
Kellie, what do you think about these schools and their recruiting classes this year?
I was also surprised about Texas A&M. I mean, having the highest recruiting class after Alabama last year, I thought it was going to be hard to do for a while because of how many great players they got. But Jimbo somehow, he knows how to put the sugar on them, and they're going to Texas. But I agree with Camden as well. I'm also surprised about Miami because not too long ago they were missing 6 position coaches.
Wow.
It is so hard to get people to come play for you when they don't know who's going to be coaching them.
Very true.
So I'm very, very surprised by Miami as well. And I mean, with all those setbacks, and I mean, still doing so well in the state of Florida, like, good on them.
Good for them.
UCF still best team in Florida.
Best team in
We
Florida.
are.
Best team in Florida.
And
All
we
right.
proved it.
So I want everyone to go and say their top team overall. I think the top class for sure this year has to go to Texas A&M. This specific class has 7 5-stars, and all of them rank among the top 25 players in the nation. They got defensive lineman Walter Nolan, who is ranked number 2 in top signees. Arguably, the Aggies could have one of the greatest defensive line recruiting classes in history. On the offensive end, Connor Weigman is the first 5-star signee at quarterback since Kyler Murray. They also got the number 1 tight end Jake Johnson and number 2 receiver was Stewart. Camden, who's your top team?
Well, I think the top team, like I said, Oklahoma or Miami. But my most disappointing team that I wanted to touch on was USC. I couldn't believe that USC, for just getting Lincoln Riley, was that far down, back at number 65. Somewhere down in that range, according to whatever website you're looking at. I was surprised after all those guys flipped and transferred to USC that the recruiting class was still like 6th in the Pac-12. That is awful.
Kelly, who's your overall top out of all of these schools?
I'm going to go with Texas A&M just because they've done something that's never been done before. In 7 5-stars, there's only 35 in the entire country, and they have 7 of them. So that's kind of a big deal.
I know that we have the same school for disappointing, and a school that didn't come out so hot with recruiting has to be Florida. They did lose Mullen and lost to UCF, which might have put a damper on some things, but realistically, there's just better opportunities at other schools for players now, and they see it's not all about the name. Running back Trevante Citizen signed with Miami, who they felt like they had a great shot at. They also lost out on 4-star defensive lineman Caden Story to Clemson and Matthews. They did finish out in the top 20, but I'm sure it's not how they wanted to end. Kelly, go ahead, talk about Florida.
Well, I mean, yeah, finishing that high is still good. That's good on you, but you're in the SEC. Other people in your conference finished top 3. What are you doing? And no matter that they got Billy Napier, it doesn't really matter. I see a lot of the talk from the fans, and they're like, this is going to be the year, this is going to be that. No, it's not, because you never get your coaches the chance to actually get a full recruiting class in and get a full cycle in to actually produce something with their players. I don't think anyone at Florida is ever going to get that chance just because they're so impatient and they're still living in the past of 2008 because when they were on that high of winning and they're just trying to get back to it. Here's the thing. You're not going to ever be able to do that without some consistency. And if you can't give these 18 to 21-year-olds any type of consistency, what do you expect? Money's not going to fix everything. So they're $500 million in debt to coaches paying them out right now. You kind of hope this one works out for him, but that's not what's coming true so far. I mean, all the guys they had with really high crystal balls to Florida flipped. So
yeah, can't really say I hate to see it happen, but I want to touch on UCF. The UCF recruiting class is super unique this year on both sides of the ball. They did pretty well. They are starting to build up defensively, mimicking an SEC-type team. I'm excited to see what Thomas Castellanos does in the quarterback battle this spring. All of the other schools were trying to flip him to running back, defensive back, or even wide receiver. UCF beat out reigning Natty champs Georgia to get him, and with so many schools trying to switch him around, this just shows how versatile he is, and we need a quarterback that can run and do all the things.
Yes, we do.
So Camden, take away some UCF recruiting.
Well, I do want to say that the recruiting class was a little bit lower than I expected. I believe that they were somewhere around the 50 range, 47, 52, somewhere around that, which isn't too bad. I'm really excited to see what they've got on the defensive side of the ball. But like you said, that guy that comes to UCF instead of Georgia, why wouldn't he? Yes, he's going to make more money at Georgia, but he's not going to play there. I mean, they have 4 or 5 quarterbacks that are going to be above him. So obviously, if he wants to get some playing time, if he wants to get his name out there, he'd go to a school like UCF.
Kelly, what are some key takeaways for UCF's recruiting this season?
I think our key takeaway was the transfer portal. We got 1 4-star from our own backyard in Apopka, Florida, which is amazing coming from that powerhouse of a high school. But where we really shined is in our transfer portal. 2 guys from Auburn, a 5-star from Maryland, and a lot of defensive help that we really, really needed. So I'm very, very excited for the season coming up.
I think we're all super excited that football season is going to come back very soon. I mean, it just ended and we're really upset about it, but as long as we can keep talking about it on this show, we're going to. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us with all your recruitment
Thank you for having me.
critiques and expertise. So stay tuned. Segment 2 will come right back up.
I'm going with Cowboys versus Giants. Why? Because I am a New York Giants fan and I want my first pick of the week to be my team. I see an upset for the New York Giants this Sunday. Bet your entire savings, and I'm telling you right now, they're gonna win. I don't care what you say. It's gonna happen.
I have to go with the Raiders, I think, for this one. I don't see them losing.
Welcome back. It is now time for our primetime picks of the week, the best segment. I'm currently doing awful, standing at 16-10, Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm going Texas 35-27.
All right, Jeff, don't tell me your winner, but who is going to the Super Bowl?
The New England Patriots.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
God.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God.
The
Oh
NFL
my
is gonna
God.
the NFL is gonna make it happen.
Welcome back to segment 2 of Nighttime. This is usually what we do for segment 1, but we are going to be talking basketball all throughout the world. We are joined by Grant Wheeler. How are we doing today, Mr. Wheeler?
Yo, I'm doing fantastic, Camden. Thank you for having me on. It's my third time on Nighttime this school year. Always a blast being on here talking college basketball, college football. Let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, I can't wait. This is the first time we're going to be on a show together, and I can't wait to battle with you on a couple things. Let's get right into it.
All right, men's basketball started out decently strong against top 10 Houston, but ended up falling short at home. This was their highest ranked opponent they had played at home since 2014. Houston did look really hot at the beginning of the second half, leading 40-25, but UCF was actually able to score 9 straight to cut down the lead. There was a 4-point difference, but Houston was able to pull away, with UCF not scoring a 3 in the final 5 minutes and missing 7 of their 8 final shots. For the most part, their defense did well, but it still wasn't enough and came up pretty short, losing 63-49. UCF has not been able to ever beat a team ranked higher than 15th, and they are now 8-3 at home. Grant, what are some of the reasons that this UCF team can just not do great against these top-rated teams?
It's because they lack a lot of offense. They have some shooters on the offensive side of the ball, like Darren Green Jr., but really, they just can't compete against teams that can put the ball in the hoop. Now, Houston's not really an offensive team. They're more of a defensive-minded team, which is why they only gave up 49 points against us. But we don't have the firepower, I feel like, in the half-court game to compete against most teams.
Yeah, you're right, Grant. I want to say this. Houston is no slouch. They're a top 10 team. I want to rant, but I'm going to wait a little bit. But yeah, you cannot score 49 points and expect to beat the 7th-ranked team. I will point out, our group was starting that defense chant. We were getting UCF back in the game when they cut it down to a 3-point lead, but then they fell apart. It was not a pretty game.
It wasn't a pretty game, but we are going to discuss our top players of this game. And my player was against Houston, Darren Green Jr., and Green led UCF with 14 points, and he was able to knock down a trio of 3-pointers in the first 3 minutes to help UCF take the 11-2 lead. Obviously, they didn't keep, but he also led in 3-point percentages. Grant, who was yours?
It's also Darren Green Jr. because he was the only one that really kind of showed up for UCF on Saturday night. All 10 of his baskets were from beyond the arc. He did not shoot a single basket from inside the 3-point line. 40% from beyond the arc, not bad. 14 points, obviously you want more from him, but again, that's asking a lot against an elite Houston defense.
Well, you're absolutely right. Only 14 points. That's crazy because he had the first 9 of the game, didn't he? Why didn't he score more, you may ask? Because he's on the bench for the next 5 minutes in the first half. What are you doing? Why is Darren Green Jr. on the bench when Brandon Mahan is coming in shooting 1 for 12 from the line? My player, I'll get to it, is Darius Perry. He played nice. He was 11 points, I believe 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Not bad for him. He came out and it was a nice second piece to Darren Green Jr. But in the second half there, where Darren Green was on the bench from the 10-minute mark to the 3-minute mark, are you kidding me? Why is he on the bench for 7 minutes? I don't get heated that often, but I was angry after
Coach
that game.
Camden coming out.
Thank you. I had to get that off my chest.
Okay, well, on Wednesday, it was National Women's in Sports Day, and these women at UCF are killing it. Women's basketball came out on top again Monday night against Temple, 64-55. They did fall behind early in the first quarter, 24-11, and when they were down by 13, UCF was able to come back, scoring 20 points in the second period, and held Temple to only 6, giving them the lead at half. Together, Kaba and Thomas combined for 21 of UCF's 31 points in the first half. It was back and forth the whole third quarter, and neither team was able to reach a 3-point lead, and with 8 minutes left, it got very dicey with Temple pulling ahead with free throw shots, but Lewis responded with a 3 for the lead. Grant, what do you think about these girls?
They're a tough group. They play very hard, and in that game, they had to because Diamond Battles had an off game, who's our leading scorer. So what's her name? Kaba Masani?
Maseni Kaba.
Maseni Kaba. Yeah, she had to step up, 21 points. She had to fill in the void for the lack of scoring from Diamond Battles and some of the other players. So they would not have won that game if it weren't for her production.
You're absolutely right. They would not have. Like you said, Diamond Battles had a little bit of an off game. We'll get to her later, I believe. But my player of the week is going to be Destiny Thomas. She scored 18 with 11 rebounds. She played fantastic. And like you said, Taylor, that second and fourth quarter was huge. They outscored Temple hugely in those second and fourth quarter. And when they were down, I thought that game was going to be over. And then those girls pulled ahead. They're playing really good basketball right now. They're a sneaky good team.
They are. And my player of this game this week goes to Maseni Kaba. She led all scorers, having a career high 21 points, and was able to get her first double-double of the season. I think it's her 5th of her whole career. She also had three steals, 2 assists, and got her 100th career block. I'm pretty sure she's your player of the game too, Grant.
She is, yes.
She did really well. We're excited for all the success that these girls are coming their way. And it's time to go into our primetime picks of last week. Pretty sure that I'm still one ahead, but I did have some mishaps last week. But so did Camden, and we're going to get to that one. So in the last second, Purdue was able to come out on top over Ohio State, 81-78. With exactly 0.6 seconds left, Jaden Ivey hit a tie-breaking three-pointer for the win. Ivey in specific had dominated for Purdue this season and is their top scorer. Even though Ohio State found themselves down 52-32 with 14 remaining, they were still able to tie the score when Kyle Young intercepted Purdue's inbound pass. But when the ball got in Ivey's hands, he's not going to be stopped. They're definitely a contender to be one of the top teams. They just need to find a way to finish out games strong. Camden, you want to talk about it?
I don't think I could refuse to, so I guess I will. Before last week on the show, I did say E.J. Liddell and Kyle Young were the guys to watch out for. E.J. Liddell started out so ice cold. He was cold like Gadiel behind the camera. And I'll tell you, he found his way back in the game. I believe he came out and scored 20 points. Good for EJ. And then Kyle Young playing like a football player. I told you that guy was the energizer. After being down 20, they clawed their way back in. I was so happy. And then Jaden Ivey shoots a shot like this and it goes in. Are you kidding me? It was so heartbreaking to watch this team come back and then just get it shattered all within like 20 seconds of each other. Ain't that right, Grant?
How do you give up 22 fouls, Camden?
Okay, you know what? I'm not playing, all right? I didn't give up 22 fouls, but Ohio State, they were very in foul trouble the whole day, and it was just disappointing.
At that point,
to watch.
you're pretty much giving Purdue like the quadruple bonus.
Yeah, good thing they only shot 57% from the free throw line. If Purdue was knocking down their free throws, this game would have been even more of a blowout.
Dang.
Yeah, Ohio State probably would not have made it interesting at the end there.
No,
if
they
made more of their free throws, Purdue.
Camden was Snapchatting me the whole time. He was very upset about what was going on. He got his hopes up, and it didn't turn out the way. Just like for me, this game didn't turn out the way I picked. Kansas was able to take down Iowa State 70-61 on Tuesday night. McCormick was able to make all of his 7 shots and had 14 rebounds for Kansas. Abaji was out due to COVID protocols, but the rest of his team really didn't miss a beat scoring-wise. Jalen Wilson scored all 13 of his points, and Christian Braun also finished with 13. Kansas did struggle with turnovers and had 16 in the first 20 minutes of the game. They still were able to maintain leads and kept in control. They are still the only team with 1 loss in the Big 12, and I feel like now Iowa State is in a mid-season slump. Grant, what are your takeaways from this game?
Well, Kansas had 4 players in double digits, and that was key, which is the reason why they were leading wire to wire against, a pretty good Iowa State team in a hostile environment, in Des Moines. Kansas, I think they're starting to get their groove. Bill Self's got these guys playing hard. They're 10th in the country. They might have a chance to win the Big 12 this year because, Baylor, their star player, went out about a week ago, Crier. So I think Kansas, they're on the right track here.
Well, you're right. I think I'd take Kansas in any single game in the Big 12, except for against Baylor, hint, hint. But I got to talk about Kansas real quick because if you go back last week and watch the clip, my face dropped when Taylor said she was picking Iowa State. I was like, you're going to give me a freebie after I just took my team, Ohio State, to beat Purdue? Are you kidding me? So thank you. Thank you for that free game, Taylor. I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for letting me get back into primetime picks. So thank you so much. McCormick led them in scoring with 14 points, I believe. So good for him for stepping up with Abaji out. Kansas led all 40 minutes throughout the game, and Iowa State only shot 23% from 3. Cannot win a game like that. Let's go Jayhawks. That's for you, Kemper.
All right.
Rock Jayhawk.
Well, I think that coming up in this next segment, maybe I'll be able to come out on top again. I am 1 ahead of Camden still this week. I just want to note that I've been leading every single week. Just a little pat on my back because I did awful last year, and Camden, I think you're kind of taking over that bad host spot.
Whoa, it is week 4. Hold on.
But I have a feeling it's going to get dicey in this next segment because we are picking some different teams. So stay tuned. Grant, thank you for being on this segment, and we'll be right back.
Coming back. Go away. Welcome to the HTF Hot Wings Challenge. What do you guys actually do hot sauce like regularly?
No.
No.
It's like the least black thing I do.
Oh, wow, okay.
I say Johnny goes first on this one.
Okay, great.
The Buccaneers are going to play the Washington football team.
That can't happen.
It will happen.
I'm terrified.
No, I really hate it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. No. You're wrong. If it wasn't for Kanye jumping up on stage and doing that, I'm gonna let you finish, but no one will know this one.
Nitros, dump truck. And if you don't know what I'm talking about,
Why is nitro thick?
I don't know how many squats I need to do to get up like something like that, but I will do it.
Oh! Oh my God!
Baseball, obvious reasons. Babe Ruth, if you want to go currently. I feel like that's just like a thing.
he jumped off the wall to catch the home run. And we made it through all the way to the end. Thank you for joining us.
I'm never doing this again.
It was rough.
Welcome back to segment 3, our favorite primetime picks, where I'm leading over Camden only by 1. We are again joined by Grant, and he's going to have his first shot at primetime picks this season. Grant, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's get into it.
All right, this first game, I'm going to take Arizona over UCLA because if there's anything we can take away from this season, it's hard to beat a team twice. I took UCLA last time, so I feel like I have to now give Arizona a shot. They got defended well in their first meeting, but Arizona is still a big threat offensively. They're second in the nation with points per game while still playing tight defense. I know we talk about it all the time. It really is hard to beat a team twice. So Camden, I know that you maybe want to take someone different on this one.
Yeah, the first time I took Zona to come on into UCLA and beat them, and they got smacked around. They lost by 16. It was an awful game. They only scored 59. I'm not picking against UCLA. What you know about Johnny Juzang? I'm taking UCLA to go into Arizona and beat Arizona. What about you, Grant?
Yeah, I'm with you, Camden. Give me the Bruins here. Mick Cronin's going to have those guys playing hard. UCLA are third in the country. I think they have Arizona figured out. I think they can sweep them.
All right, I like to hear that. Someone's on my side. Let's do it.
All right, late Thursday night, Villanova did take on Marquette, and me and Camden both took Villanova last week and messed up. Marquette won, so we're just kind of not really going to talk about that. But this next game with UConn and Villanova, I am going to take Nova. As of late, their outside shooting has been on point. Just like UConn, they play with a slow pace, but Villanova is more efficient on offense. So for that reason, I'm going to take Villanova. I'm not well versed on UConn this past season, so I just feel like it's a safe bet for me at this point. Camden?
Yeah, I thought a safe bet was last week taking Villanova against Marquette as well, and you see how that turned out. Marquette had 46 points in the first half. That's all you really need to know about that game. I don't even know what to say about Villanova after that lackluster defensive performance. I'm still going to take Villanova against UConn. Give me Villanova.
Grant?
I'm going to show my bias here. Give me UConn. I think Sanogo, Dan Hurley, that UConn squad, they're more desperate right now. They're trying to rack up more wins to get higher in the rankings. Good old classic Big East matchup. Give me the Huskies here.
Grant, you got some family ties over there, huh?
Ooh.
I do.
Hey, I'll teach you one thing. Don't pick with your heart. It's bid against me twice.
I usually
and it's
don't.
probably going to do again.
But this time I will.
All right, this one's interesting. In the matchup with Baylor and Kansas, I'm going to take Kansas because I learned my lesson this week. With their win over Iowa State, they have momentum and they'll be at home. Baji will be back and will most likely keep the score flowing, which they are 8th in the nation in. So I just have to go with Kansas. I think Kansas might be the top team coming out at the end of March. Camden?
Wow, all right. That's a bold prediction right there. You know, Kansas is starting to catch fire a little bit. I know we got a Jayhawks fan sitting about 10 feet in front of me, and you know what? Baylor is going to go into Kansas and beat them. Upset alert. Baylor is going to go in there, beat Kansas. I got Baylor. What about you, Grant?
Not without their top point guard, LJ Cryer. I don't think they go into Allen Fieldhouse and beat Kansas.
It's going to be hard.
It's going to be a tall task for Baylor without their best player. Give me the Jayhawks in this one.
All right, I think this next one is going to be extremely close, but even though Michigan State has already beaten Wisconsin this year, I'll think they'll be able to do it again with them at home. Wisconsin likes to play slow, which is the exact opposite of how the Spartans like to play. I think the bench comes up big in favor of Michigan State on this one, not to mention they are at home. I think they can do it twice. I think this team are capable of beating Wisconsin 2 times this season. Camden?
This week is either going to be really good for me or really bad for me. Just like I said, don't pick with your family. I'm going to go against that. I'm picking with my family. I'm taking the Badgers. Give me UW to go into Michigan State and knock off another upset alert. Come on, Badgers. Don't let me down twice in a row. What do you got, Grant?
I got to disagree with you, Camden. I got to go with Tom Izzo and the Spartans here. Again, on the road, it's tough to play on the road in the Big Ten. Very tough conference. They're both very good teams. You know, they're in the top 25, but Michigan State, I just think they have, as Taylor mentioned, more depth.
Yeah,
All right,
makes sense.
Upcoming, there is a war on I-4 coming here. UCF and USF men's will face off. Since UCF did lose at USF, I'm going to put hopefully my trust in them that they are able to make a win happen at home, which they haven't really been doing that well at this year. But I think since they already lost to USF, they'll have the urge and revenge to want to come back against the Bulls. Give me the war on I-4, UCF Knights taking home the home win. Camden?
I would be crazy not to pick UCF in this game. I will be in attendance at this game. Y'all know I'm loud. I'm going to spark up that crowd, and UCF is going to dominate the Bulls. I've got UCF. Don't let me down, Knights. Don't let me down.
Yeah, give me the Knights in this one. They're going to bounce back. In the first meeting, they laid an egg in USF, and we're not going to let that happen in addition to Financial Arena. All the USF people I know back home, they're probably going to be talking trash, so hopefully UCF can shut them up and split the season series.
All right, before this episode ends, I want to make some bold predictions that hopefully Johnny can use next season in some bad takes. So I said it earlier, I think Kansas is going to come out on top this season. Camden, who do you think it'll be?
So you're going to take Kansas to go and win the entire thing, right?
Sure.
Why?
I don't know. I think they're on a hot streak right now. I think they're able to beat good teams coming in, and they really are peaking at the right point. And every time I go against them, they win. So might as well just, if you can't beat them, go with them. And that's what I'm doing at this point.
I like your pick. I do like that pick. Kansas is going to probably at least be first or second in the Big 12. Baylor, I think, will be up there too. I either want to go out west to like UCLA or somebody. I always want to pick Gonzaga, but they never seem to win it. Last year I thought was that year for that perfect season, but they didn't seem to do it. I think, yeah, I'll take UCLA. I would go in the Big Ten, but they're going to all beat each other up. UCLA really plays in a lighter conference except for like Arizona and USC. I'm going to take UCLA to win it all. Grant, you got a prediction here?
I can't go with Kansas. I mean, under Bill Self, they've been very consistent, but aside from 2008, they haven't been able to get the job done. I'm going to go with Purdue. It's kind of a hot take as Purdue. They haven't made the Final Four ever in their program. They've gotten to the Elite Eight multiple times. I mean, they're fourth in the nation right now. I'm a big Purdue guy. I like to see the Boilermakers somehow get there and take it all the way.
Nah, you're wrong. You were wrong. I'm sorry about that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that one. But hey, crazy things happen in the time of March. So we have a month left, and we'll be getting right into it. And these shows will be fun to discuss.
Oh, yeah.
I want to thank Kelly for coming on and talking recruitment with us. Grant, thank you for talking some college basketball. Camden, of course, thank you for being the best co-host ever, making the show so fun. Thank you guys for tuning in, and make sure to come back next week to see who won the Battle of Primetime Picks this week. Thanks for watching.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make it